Hey guys, vryBot here, and I'd like to welcome you back again to Elevating Your Chess Tactics with 303 Tactical Chess Puzzles. It's a video series to help you do puzzling every single day, and I'll walk you through these puzzles for you to analyze. And once again, I'm inviting you to vryBot.com. That's VRYBOT. I want to be sure that you know about the chess coaching service that I provide for current viewers of this series and chess students in general. It's real easy. You simply click on the services tab here on vryBot.com. You can click on chess coaching for a description, or you can say hire coach right now. Jump on in. Don't forget to send me a message, join the Discord, or send me a message right here. Okay, thanks. Now with that out of the way, we can actually jump into the puzzles. So today we're going to start off a little bit simple, but we're still going to do our tactical dirty work. We're going to count the material, then we're going to check for checks, captures, and threats. Making sure that we're doing each of these, we're going to solve the puzzles. Bit of an easy one to start, not bad at all. Let's count the material. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7 pawns versus 2, 4, 6, 7 pawns for white, equal. Let's count the rest of the material. We have 3 minor pieces for black, 3 minor pieces for white. We have a rook and a rook. Okay, looks like we're ready to go here. In looking for checks and captures, here's a check. It's not very good. Here's a capture. Here's a capture. Here's a capture. And here's a capture. We can skip looking for threats at the moment because we've solved the puzzle in the captures phase. Here we have a simple capture of a pawn that removes the guard or removes the defender of the knight on d3. Finally, simple puzzles. Let's go. Diving into the next one, we're going to count material one more time. 2, 4, 5 versus 2, 4, 5. The pawns look equal. We have 2 knights for white versus 2 knights for black. The minor pieces look equal. 2 rooks versus 2 rooks and a queen for each. That looks equal as well. So we got to find something here. So next, let's look for our checks, captures, and threats. We have a really cool check here, but it just doesn't work out yet. If we take, queen takes, we take, he takes, we take, he takes. We lose a rook in that exchange. That's not good. We gain a pawn. That's not great. So we have a capture here or a capture here. So this time we need to make a threat again. Let's find a good threat. I don't see too much other than knight to b6. This is going to harass a rook, ask him to leave, and he's really restricted to find a place to go. He's got just one place to go, runs to the back, and then we finally get to do the idea that we first spotted. We're going to go ahead and nab the pawn on f7. We have our rooks doubled up. We're ready to go. Free pawn. Okay, so we have a lot of material on the board again. We're still going to count. 2, 4, 6 versus 2, 4, 5. White's up a pawn, it looks like. That's kind of good news. We have a knight and a bishop of a dark square versus a knight and a bishop of a dark square for black. We have a rook for its counterpart, a black rook, and the queens are on the board. Next, we look for checks and captures. Let's see what checks we can spot. There's one here. There's one here. We have rook all the way to c8. Another thing to notice is that the queen is pinning the queen to black's king. Put it all together, we should be able to have spotted the answer already. Those pieces of information that we just talked about, all we got to do is play rook to c8 first. Queen can't take. He's not a defender. Knight takes does look like a feasible move. But then knight to c7, and you really see how this queen never had any activity in the game whatsoever due to the pin on the board. So with this one, a bit like a puzzle we had yesterday, this one also features a really cool fork that I spot right away. But before we do that, let's just do our due diligence. 2, 4, 6 versus 2, 4, 5. White has a knight, but black has a knight and a bishop. They're up in minor pieces, So white is boasting a rook on e1. Nice. But black has two rooks. Rook on c7 and rook on a8. Bummer. So let's look for our checks and captures and threats next. Here we have a check. Here we have a check. Here's a check. Here's a check. Here's a check. We have a lot of checks. Fun times. Before we go further, we can use one of these checks to our advantage. Because of the battery in the back rank here, the queen really wants to pop over here or here, and that would be fantastic, but only if this pawn didn't exist, or maybe he was gone somewhere else. That shows us that knight to f6, forking the king and the queen, is going to win the game. If the king moves, we're just going to take the queen. So let's capture. Well, that allows us our brilliant checkmate on g8. And now we're into one of my favorites again, an endgame puzzle. Endgames are really cool because they are solved. Is it win, lose, or draw? The truth is there. All we have to do is find it. So let's count the material. Black is up quite a bit, so that's good. We have a rook and a pawn versus a bishop. Is it enough to win? It usually is in the endgame. So all we got to do is find the moves. Let's find the checks and captures. Well, we have a check here and a check here. Neither one seems to go anywhere. If we check here, we just check back and forth. And the king just wobbles between these two squares. That's all he's got. So let's try to make an improving move. Do we have any captures? Well, unfortunately, we don't. Do we have any threats? This is where we will excel. We are going to push our pawn and threaten rook to h2 with a checkmate. Unfortunately for white, they have to capture here to prevent us from doing that, being that their bishop move is one of the only moves on the board. They don't have any king moves. So they can pick from a multitude of different bishop moves, but they should capture here because it's the only one that stops rook to h2. And then we take the bishop. We'll continue the game, and we will definitely put a checkmate on the white king. Moving on, we see more similarities in this puzzle from puzzles like yesterday and the day before. With this, we are actually down some material. So let's do the count. We have 2 4 pawns. Black has 2. So we're up in pawns, 2 of them. But black has 2 rooks, which we have. They have a bishop, which is a minor piece that we don't have. So they're to the good. We need to find a way to snatch this material imbalance away from black. Let's look for checks and captures and threats. We have a check. It's not very good. King just takes. Nothing's going to happen after that, except we'll go down to lose. Let's look for captures. So this is not a capture. This is not a capture, but there is one over here. So rook takes bishop is in our list of captures. We can actually stop right there and use that to our advantage with just a little bit further calculation. With rook takes bishop, we are pinning this rook to the king, so he can't do any further monkey business. Doesn't have a feasible check on us at the moment, which is cool thanks to this pawn here, stopping him. So he should be considering recapturing. The problem with that recapture is that it removed the guard or removed the defender of the e3 rook. Yes. And now you can see at the end of this combination, we have 4 pawns, black has 2. We're going to go on to win the game. Okay, so this puzzle was a bit of fun for me this morning when I took a look just before firing up the computer. So we've got 2 3 pawns versus 2 3 pawns, 2 rooks for black, 2 rooks for white, 2 rooks for white, queen and queen, both white and black. Okay, now we can look at checks and captures. This puzzle was really fun because in analyzing the checks and captures, look, there's a double check. If we move this rook out of the way, it discovers the queen on the king. And if we take this here, that's also a double check. King might take our rook, but we'll have a double check. We're going to have to look at both of these moves. This is the move that I preferred when I first looked at the puzzle this morning. And then I had to stop to notice that my rook can't come here to g2 to mate him. Oh no! My rook's pinned! Darn! So that leads me to look at the other move. How about rook takes e1? Double check. And a capture. Very fine move. King takes is the only single move on the board. And lucky for me, I don't have to move my rook, but he's still doing a fantastic job guarding a square that I want to throw my queen on and give him the kiss of death. This checkmate is known as the queen's kiss of death, or the in-your-face checkmate. Queen's all up in there. So we get teased again with a nice, easy, simple puzzle. But it's only easy and simple if you're good at your endgames, or counting material, or looking for checks, captures, and threats. So let's take a look. We'll find the move, don't you worry, but let's do some work. 2, 4, 5 pawns for white, 2, 4, 5 pawns for black. We have a knight versus bishop, and in this case, the bishop is really hemmed in here. He's not in a good situation. We both have rooks, and we both have kings. Good for us. Okay, you're always going to have a king. So let's try to find some checks and captures. We don't have a check, though this might look like the closest thing to it. Terrible move. We do have captures. We have knight takes, we have knight takes, and we have knight takes. All not very good. So we're going to have to continue on to the threats. Rook to b7 is a fantastic threat. We're going to hit the bishop for a second time. So with only the king as a defender, this bishop is going to need to retreat. You can pick bishop to e8 or bishop to g8. It's your choice. And then our pawn enters the fray. So a pawn who was just blockaded a second ago and was not completely noticeably part of the game, all of a sudden gets to move forward, and he's going to put the final blow to black. The knight, the rook, everybody guards this pawn, and the pawn traps the bishop. We're going to take that bishop on the next turn. It's a really fun one. Let's count the material. I know there's a lot going on, and counting sometimes can be redundant, but if you do it quickly, you're basically just scanning through it. It was also mentioned in Kotov's book, Think Like a Grandmaster, that every grandmaster must immediately know the material imbalance in the game of chess. So let's just go ahead and do it. 2, 4, 5 pawns versus 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, we're down 2 pawns. For white, we have 4 minor pieces. For black, they have 3 minor pieces. For white, we have the 2 rooks, and for black, also 2 rooks. Queen versus queen. So black has sacrificed some material to get in here. They're attacking the king. They think they've got it going good. And then all of a sudden, white starts looking for checks and captures. All we have to do is look for the first check. And we're going to solve this puzzle. Isn't that great? All right, first we check the king, showing off our fantastic fork. So the bishop takes it because we don't want to lose our queen, says black. But then that frees up the knight to capture on e4. What was the problem before? Well, the knight couldn't capture e4 before because the bishop was pinning the knight. So either we get the queen one way or we get her the other way. And for our final puzzle of the day, something fun. Let's take a look. We have 2, 4 versus 2, 3 pawns. We have a minor piece. Ours is a bishop. Black also has a minor piece, which is a knight. We each have a queen and a rook. Now black actually has a very serious threat here. He wants to take this and mate us. In fact, he could do it the other way too. Lots of fun for black. Can we find any fun for white? Let's look for our checks, captures, and threats. Turns out, just looking for a check, we're going to be able to solve this puzzle with tactics. We have a check here, bishop to e7. We have a check here, bishop to f6. We have a check here, bishop to g5. And we have a check here, bishop to h4. If we take a look at each one of these checks in our mind, we can see that this one doesn't really attack anything. It does go to an attacked square. Unless that helps us with trapping the king, I don't think we're going to play it. Bishop to f6 is getting really close to the king. It looks good visually. We might keep that in mind. Bishop to g5 is actually hitting the rook on c1. This looks really good. Bishop to h4. Well, it's going under attack from the queen. Although they can't take it, unless it does something on the next turn, what good is it? So it turns out bishop to g5 is the best move on the board. Once we play bishop g5, we're hitting the rook. It's check. He can block or run, do whatever he chooses, and then our rook is free to take. This rook will be guarded by the bishop on g5. So that's a fun end to today's series of puzzles. So with that, it's time to invite you once again to subscribe. Please like the video, share with other people, and comment down below. You can even drop a criticism if you like. So look out for the cartoon vryBot popping up on your screen, and you can jump on over to another previous video or get right into the playlist. Do it again.